Hello and welcome to SpaceEngine Exploration. So, there's not really too much to update you guys on this week, other than I am going to turn my settings down a little bit because, as you can see, I have them turned up way too high, and I figured that might have been what was causing me to crash so much. But hopefully, with that turned down, it won't crash nearly as much this time. Somebody was mentioning it was a VRAM problem, like the video card was running out of VRAM, but then I remembered my current video card doesn't really have that much. It has 4 gigs, so maybe this game really just eats up VRAM like nothing. So we'll find out, but let's dive right into suggestions. Just stutter. Alright, so let's go and paste this one in. This one is from Namikaze, no description. And it's a temperate Terra over in the Carina Nebula. Interesting. The exact portion of the Carina Nebula we're in. I think that is, yeah, there's the whole bright star Carina Nebula. And we have some very, very bright white rings. Do I have real planet brightness enabled? I do not. No, they're in fact brighter than the fake planet brightness was determining. Where's the parent star? There it is. There's the parent star. I think I have diffraction spikes turned off. Because as you can see where I started the video there was me taking a picture of a thumbnail for a Universe Unbox 2 video. There we go. Let's go ahead and land right over here. So there's no description for this planet, so I don't really know where to visit. It doesn't have life. It's a kind of typical blue Terra. You see these quite commonly. For some reason, a lot of Terras in this game have like a blue soil. See the rings faintly in the sky there. And there's the parenting star. This is a pretty bright planet for a star that seems like it's quite far away, so it must be a really bright star. So I don't think there's really any major landmarks to visit on this planet, so let's see. It has a diameter of 10,000 kilometers, so 84% of that of Earth. A mass of 64% of Earth, an ESI of 95%. So even though it doesn't have life on it, the ESI is quite high up there. Even though the atmospheric composition is completely different than Earth, the atmospheric pressure is, well, 0.13 atmospheres. That's not a very high pressure. But I think it's mainly based off of like the diameter and the temperature of the planet, which is 17 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty close to Earth, a little bit warmer. Does it have any polar caps on it? Ah, it does. Here they are. We can land right over here. Wow, it's really hilly over here too. And you can see the auroras. What's with these huge dips? Are these like craters or something? Oh yeah, I think that's a big crater or a river or something. Yeah, that might just be a river actually. There's another one right there. Okay. Go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Andromeda. And they wrote a description on their suggestion for once. Usually Andromeda never writes descriptions. So it's a cold desert, looks beautiful view. Nebula and has 3 stars. Yeah, this looks a lot like the Carina Nebula, the nebula we're just inside of. Interesting. So it's a cold desert. Sitting at negative 87 degrees Celsius, a really cold desert. And it looks like we might even have some frost on it as well. Which is pretty unusual for deserts, but we have some snow, some kind of ice here. Possibly carbon dioxide, since the atmospheric composition is primarily carbon dioxide. Interesting. So that's kind of like Mars. The size of this planet is 8,100 kilometers, or 8,100, 64% of that Earth, so again, well, that's considerably bigger than Mars, I believe. Interesting. Oh, I see, it's a moon, a gas giant. I didn't even notice that initially. Let's go and land over here. Ah, look, it has some large polar caps as well. That's a really cool view. The frame rate's a little bit low, but it's beautiful nonetheless. Alright, so I've returned. It's actually been a day since the previous jump cut. I had to step away, and then I was helping somebody with like a bunch of network-related nonsense, and I ended up not even finishing my recording last night, so it's the next morning, and I am continuing to record. I've messed with the video settings a little bit. I turned on MSAA, and I have to say, I think the frame rate and stutter is a lot worse, so I'm just going to go ahead and disable that. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit smoother. Anyways, we're still on Andromeda suggestion. I forget where I left off. I know we're on a cold desert with a beautiful view of a nebula that looks like the Carina Nebula. And it is orbiting around 3 stars, which... are those the other stars, or are those just planets orbiting around this star? That's a planet. That's also a planet. There's one of the stars right there. Okay, there's 2 of the stars. It's a binary of 2 red dwarfs, which I can only assume these 2 red dwarfs are orbiting something a little bit bigger over here. No, also a red dwarf. I guess it just has like twice the mass or something similar to that. Let's see where their Airy center is for these objects. Oops, that's not what I was looking for. There we go. Oh, that's an interesting orbit. They're orbiting in an elliptical fashion around their Berry center. Let's go ahead and fast forward so we can kind of watch that. Very cool. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from River for you. It's a white star with life in a blue irregular galaxy, which, let's go ahead and zoom out. I think we're in that white, kind of ring-looking galaxy. Nope. We're in fact in a purple and blue galaxy. Doesn't look like anything too crazy going on in the sky from what I could tell around this galaxy, so... a relatively normal-looking suggestion from Andromeda. Normally, they have, like, crazy skies and stuff like that. So we have a white main sequence star in a galaxy actually not too far away. Elliptical galaxy, here's the white star. Now the star itself can't have life, I'd imagine, so one of these planets around here does. And we have a little polar orbit going on over here. So we have this gas giant here, with this Oceania here, which we won't be able to see the life on it because it is an Oceania, and sea life does not exist in the game yet. At least not visibly. Very cool view of the irregular galaxy in the background. Let's go ahead and turn off the orbit map. Wasn't there a way I could, there we go, I got it off the screen. Just want to get the text off the screen. I could have swore there was a hotkey for that. It's not backspace. Backspace brings you back to your previous, object you clicked on. Oh, that looks very cool. Oh, it must be colliding with like a spiral galaxy or something, because not normal for an irregular galaxy, that blue band right there. Interesting. Got some bumpy, detailed clouds clouds over this Oceania. That is just a really cool view. So I'll pull back a little bit. There we go. Look at that. That is very awesome looking. The music might be a little bit too loud, so let me go ahead and correct this real fast. And there we go. Since yesterday, I've reorganized my entire recording setup, like my entire computer, desk, all that, so I could have the microphone a little bit closer to me, just to kind of hopefully fix those irregularities in like my volume, I guess you would say. Because at times I would back up away from my microphone like this, and it would sound like I'm talking much further away. And yeah, I'm just trying to reduce that as much as possible without having like a microphone attached to my headphones, for example, because I am using a dedicated microphone on a microphone stand. So what's going on here? Okay, I think I've seen this before, this texture. I don't know if I've seen this exact collision. I might have. ARP 148 disc. Yeah, that sounds actually kind of familiar. But if I visited this one, it's probably been a while since I've seen it. But it looks very cool looking at it from that planet. Anyways, let's go and move on to the next suggestion from a name I'm not going to mention, sadly. But you know who you are, and here's your suggestion. I guess I'll just call you Doogie, or Dougie, or however that's pronounced. I ain't gonna pronounce the rest of the name, though. With a thermal emission effect. It's got like some red, very warm clouds on the backside of the planet. As you can see, there is a comet tail there. Debris ring around the star itself. And a very bright star, an orange giant, in fact. Interesting, so... dying. Possibly. We're in the Milky Way galaxy. Okay. Is that like a catalog star? Oh, it is. That's right, yeah. HIP. Okay. This planet's randomly generated, though. It's not something we've discovered, it's just kind of a planet, I think, that's thrown around that star. Randomly. As you can see, it has really bright auroras. I wonder if that's just because of my settings, or because they're just really bright on this planet for some reason. Guess it might have like some super powerful magnetosphere, perhaps. I think it was Arthur that mentioned that magnetosphere should be visible in like the next version of the game, or at least you should be able to enable that probably in one of these settings on the right side. So I can't wait to see that, because that'd be a very cool thing to see, as it seems most of the planets in this game, at least the randomly generated ones, do have magnetospheres, which is completely against like planets in the solar system, for example, like moons and stuff. Magnetospheres seem to be kind of rare. So this planet's temperature is 526 degrees Celsius. It has an ESI of 0.34%, so 34% of that of Earth. So not very similar to Earth at all, as kind of expected. And it's got a white atmosphere. I don't know if that's because of the star, but the water has a red tint to it, it looks like. We can turn off the atmosphere. Can't really tell. I think that's just due to the atmosphere. Very cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from Michael BFD2 Wong, I think that's how that's pronounced. And here we go, a scorched ice world. That's kind of contradicting. Let's go ahead and check it out. Celsius, there's something wrong with that. Ah, I see. It's a binary, and these binaries are causing tidal friction against each other, warming each other up. Go ahead and turn up the ambient lighting so we can see these planets a little bit better. So here's the ice world. It's currently 733 degrees Celsius, so I can't really assume there's too much ice on it, but there certainly is. Which is a bit weird, but it could just be, like there's frozen pockets and there's just melted areas caused by the tidal friction, I guess. A lot of volcanic activity, perhaps. I don't really know. I don't see any volcanoes. There's certainly a lot of craters on it, though. We got this over here, which is a desert with hellish-looking red clouds. I don't know why this planet would have ice on it. I guess it wouldn't be warmed completely evenly, but yeah, I guess the game wouldn't really, I don't think the game's capable of making it like melted on one side like it is with the Terras, for example, that have like a, like the tidally locked Terras. So I can only assume that there's just a very active like core inside this thing. But the surface temperature of 733 degrees Celsius on average all the way around it, I don't think any kind of ice would really survive here. Should all probably be melted and evaporated. There's also really like really tall like ice mountains as well. That's very odd. I imagine this desert probably has some volcanic activity, perhaps. Unless the volcanic activity is not really generated based off of the tidal friction or anything like that. It might just generate volcanoes completely at random. But it definitely does have some active volcanoes on it. Interesting. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. Oh wait, there's a description here. Scorched ice world and a scorched desert very center. Same system, V2. Okay, well, I only visit one suggestion per person, so I'm not really going to prolong that one too long. Let's go to the next suggestion from Nathan Universe 18. And he calls it a cartoon planet, because it's a green ice giant with purple rings. Turn down the ambient lighting, as that kind of makes things look a little bit more gray. There we go. And if I go ahead and turn off the real planet brightness, there we go. Much more colorful and brighter. This is probably what you were saying. And it looks like we have two stars. As you can see, there's actually two eclipses of two different stars here. So if I turn around and zoom in, okay, maybe not. Plus I'm missing something here. What's that? Is that a planet? That is a planet. Okay, I'm inside the planet's atmosphere. Sun's over there? Okay, let's zoom back out and turn around here. Why is there two different color shadows? Only happens when there's two stars, unless there's two moons like eclipsing each other. Am I missing something here? No, that's a bit weird. Let's go ahead and go back to that suggestion. I'm a bit confused because I can see it with the rings too. Like, do you see this? Oh wait, I think I know what it is. It's a shadow on the clouds there. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was say normally you see this when you see like two stars and like a asteroid or something eclipsing those two stars, but no, it's in fact the shadow on the clouds and the shadow on the inner gases, I guess you could say, that will be the surface of the gas giant. Okay, very cool. Looks like it has a selenium moon. I didn't even think about that. Hopefully my keyboard isn't too loud in the microphone. I just realized it's right under the microphone now. I might have to do something to fix that, but meantime, hopefully you guys didn't just tolerate it. The next suggestion is from Mr. Star Wars. Let's go ahead and copy this ID if I can. It's hard to copy IDs from comments. I know I've mentioned that like many times, like I'm having an issue copying this ID, but when you're trying to highlight these comments, it's not very easy on YouTube for some reason. Anyways, this suggestion is from Mr. Star Wars. Unless the rings are new, they shouldn't be stable. Also, there's also a nice view of the galaxy that covers half the sky. Nice. So it's an icy Terra world with life, both marine and terrestrial. Let's go ahead and zoom down here. Can't smash into the terrain anyways. Got a sandy texture, generic life, and grass, it looks like. And these beautiful ring shadows. So, why would these rings be unstable? Let's find out. I'm pretty close to the planet. You know, I kind of always wondered with rings around a Terra, because they always orbit incredibly close to the Terra. Would there be a lot of, like, shooting stars or meteor showers from just the rings slowly drifting constantly into the atmosphere and burning up? Because eventually these rings are going to condense into the planet, so I wonder if that would happen. Also, that's a very interesting effect going on with the ring shadows over here. Like a separated band in the center? Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Makes for a very cool looking impression of the shadows there. So, when the eclipse happened, a couple weeks ago, or, well, yeah, a couple weeks ago, it got cold and windy for anyone who was like in totality. It got cold, windy, the shadows got all weird and distorted. Shadows looked sharper. If you looked like between the light being casted between like leaves and stuff, they'd be crescent shaped before the full eclipse happened. Makes me wonder what effects it would be like if you were like under the shadows of a ring around your planet. Like, I can't imagine it to be normal. Like shadows, would they be sharper looking because less of the sun is exposed? And colder and windier, and would like the weather around these rings be completely different? These hot bands and these cold bands, and instead of like you know, hurricanes happening at the equator, would there be like hurricanes and weird cyclones and other weird weather patterns caused by like just the shadow of these rings every day? That's interesting. That's not something I've really looked into at all. I'll check that out sometime. Let's go ahead and copy the next ID here from OshiJack. Let's get rid of that question mark. I don't know why it always puts a question mark. This one's not loading. Let's get rid of this B here. Well, I assume this is the suggestion here. It's a hot gas giant discovered in 2007 via radio velocity, orbiting around a close-by star, as I'd imagine. Yep. Okay, well there's no description here, so I don't really have anything to go off of. This is a very common thing. Whenever we discover a star, there's normally a Jupiter-sized or pretty large gas giant orbiting around it, very close to it as well. That's a pretty typical thing, and we'll see that make the star dim a little bit as it transits across it, depending on what angle we're viewing it from. Or we'll see the gravitational effects that it has on its parent star, making a slight wobble, I guess. But beyond that, I don't really know what else to visit in this system. In fact, there's probably not even a system, because when there's a catalog planet in this game around a catalog star, it typically doesn't generate a system for it. It just has this one planet here. I don't know if there's any details, if this is like a record in some way or whatever, any details about this planet, so onto the Next suggestion, which is from the only trippy furry Kazel. Kazel? I think that's how it's pronounced. And for a gas giant that's like Jupiter and a habitable moon and a star cluster, it's the biggest spiral galaxy. So this is the biggest spiral galaxy we apparently know about. And it looks a lot like the Milky Way. As I was saying, it looks like the Milky Way. It uses the Milky Way's texture. There's a star cluster over there. Kind of zoom in here, let it load so we don't crash the game immediately. And want me to find a Jupiter with a habitable moon, so let's go ahead and just grab the search tool. Settings, let's look for a let's see, moon with organic life, and hopefully it'll be able to find something around here. It found nothing. Okay, let's search within like, let's go over 25 light years. And let me make sure my settings are correct. Found a couple. I don't know if this is actually going to be in the cluster itself. Ah, here it is. Let's see. There you go. It's not quite what you're looking for, I don't think, but it is a gas giant with life, orbiting what I think is... Nope, it's just a gas giant with life orbiting around another gas giant. Oh, there you go. Move on to the next suggestion here, which is from Henry Pretorius. Pretorius? I don't know. Go ahead and paste this ID in. And it's a cool desert that's orbiting a pair of red dwarfs. And on the dark side, where the dark side is, occasionally is lit up by the third star in the system, giving it a unique day and night cycle. It also makes it look like a two-colored Pac-Man, as you can see there. And if you land right here on one of these mountains, you should be able to see all the stars in the sky, but each side of the sky is a different color. It's got like a pink horizon over there, and actually it's still pink on that side too. Let's go ahead and land on this side and just see what the sky looks like. We got like a blue color and a yellow star in the sky. You can also see the galaxy, because I guess that yellow star is not as bright. If we go to the other side here, where it's probably, yeah, it's significantly brighter. You can no longer see the galaxy, but you can see the parenting star in the sky. And what is that? Okay, that's just another star. Dwarf, and the other one is just a much closer red dwarf. These two are probably orbiting each other, and I think we're in a circumbinary orbit. We're orbiting around that binary, which is evidently orbiting the very center of this bigger yellow dwarf star, or orange dwarf star rather. Very cool. Let's go back to that planet real quick. And what we'll do is we'll just hit play and watch as it kind of cycles around. Let's rotate with the object. So you can see the very weird day and night cycle on this planet. I also see that it has multiple cloud layers, and you can see them just passing over each other on the planet. Very cool. Let's go ahead and halt time. And let's move on to the next suggestion from Nicholas Rocha Carmack. Go ahead and copy this ID. There was a question mark there, but it still worked anyways. Alright, well, let's go. So, not sure if you already know this, but someone found a 167 astronomical unit star. Just one astronomical unit larger than the star in your video a few months back. I don't really have this information on hand at the moment. But, yeah, I forget how big the largest star was, but there was actually a few videos that I'm not put in that playlist. Bigger stars, so I don't know if this one is bigger than those ones, or what the exacts are on that. I kind of stopped doing that series, so, that's gonna be difficult for me to find. I'm, like, stuck in the bumps of this star. There we go. So... yeah, I don't know. Is this bigger than the ones from the previous videos? I don't really recall because I got kind of lazy and stopped adding them to the playlist, and that's just my fault for being unorganized in that case. Oops. But perhaps this is the next biggest star. But it might not be. But it's still pretty big, 167 astronomical units. To give you an idea, I mean, the distance between the Sun and Pluto is like 30-something astronomical units, and like the distance between Sun and Earth is just 1. So this would fit the entire solar system inside of it. So, pretty big. Go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from Deck Burrow. No description. Let's get rid of that question mark. And here we go. Looks like we're in an elliptical type galaxy, and we have a red giant here. No planets with life for us to visit. The star is not orbiting with anything. We got this cold Titan out here. We have this gas giant that has an Oceania. But I'm not seeing anything in particular that you want me to visit around here. Oh, that's a cool little crater lake. There's a volcano just sticking out of the center of it. I'm not sure what I should be visiting here. We got a gas giant with some pretty large rings. They're like hot pink rings as well, and they're really tiny actually. There's just a lot of them. Wow, those are really hot pink. Probably the pinkest rings I've ever seen in this game. In the galaxy we are... oh, it's a quasar galaxy as well. Interesting. Can't really see the quasar. Or at least the jets spewing out of the quasar, but we can look at the black hole. The really laggy black hole. There will be a quasar effect later in the game, and maybe perhaps these galaxies will be significantly brighter. In fact, is this one bright when we zoom out? Oh yeah, it's pretty bright. Definitely a lot brighter than all these galaxies that I'm passing currently, so definitely a quasar. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. This one is from Spudtato, and he also left the comment, SpaceEngine Exploration, but every time he crashes, speed up the video by 5%. Yeah, I've seen those. Well, I've actually not watched any of those videos, but I've heard of those videos on YouTube where, like, you'll watch, I think the popular one was a stupid B movie one or whatever. Every time they say B, speed it up by like 50% or something like that. Yeah, I imagine that was probably a pretty short video. Oh wow, that's a pretty cool view. Got like this, I can only assume to be like a carbon star or something up there in the sky. We've got these auroras, and we're on a desert. Anyways, it's a dwarf planet, which is a desert, which is something I've rarely seen in this game. It also has 2 close asteroid moons that eclipse it often. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on to the subject of the second channel thing. A lot of people said it was a bad idea. Yeah, I think I'll hold off on that idea. I haven't been working on my next animated video. I have ideas, but mainly I just haven't really had the time to be like drawing a bunch of stuff. I'm hoping to maybe get one out in this next week here, maybe the week after. And I want to get back into that workflow because I made 2. It was the Eclipse one and it was the garbage one. The Eclipse one was not really an animated video, but I put it there anyways because it did have an animation in it. And yeah, there's still a lot of work I had to do on that. They're not very easy to make. They don't happen very quickly. So I'm trying to do what I can to figure out how to like streamline it and make it happen a little bit faster, but I'm not someone who's particularly skilled in this field. It's something I'm learning as I'm going. So like the space trash video was the very first one that actually had motion in, and that took a while to actually figure out and do, but overall I feel it added a lot to the video, and that's the kind of stuff I'm working on. It's like, yeah, I might not get into like a weekly upload path on those videos anytime soon, but, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I'm hoping that'll happen eventually. I'm trying to figure out the tricks and fast ways to do things and how to properly do things, so I can hopefully eventually get to that workflow. And that's why the animated videos aren't really as frequent as you would see on like other channels and stuff. I also don't really have a team. I do all the research myself, I do all the animation myself, I edit the videos myself, and everything's just done by me pretty much. I draw everything, so yeah. Another thing that some animated like videos, people who make animated videos, is they'll have like a team behind them for them too. So they'll have multiple people working on different stuff to make the video come together. For me, I have to do it all myself, so yeah, that's where that's at right now. But I do want to continue that. And there we go, our very first crash for the episode. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion here. I did show the eclipse that happened in reverse time so we could see it again. There we go. There's the eclipse, and it has like some reddish clouds as well. And as you can see, the edge of the atmosphere has a greenish tint to it. And was that actually a carbon star? Oh, it certainly is. Yeah, it looked a lot like a carbon star. They have a very different appearance. They have like these dark pockets all over it. But it gives them a really cool appearance. Probably one of my favorite looking stars in this game. Anyways, let's move on to the next suggestion. Apparently I missed it. It's from Danubi Ball. I see you missed my suggestion. It's okay. There's just a template away from your computer. Nothing special missed, but anything. But anyways, what was supposed to be in place of the template is okay. Let's see if we can get this ID to work. Okay, so it's a Terra Moon, which is, guess what, totally locked. to not its parent's gas giant, but... And the comment just kind of ended there. What's it tidally locked with? Well, there's its parent gas giant. Let's watch the gas giant and just see what it's orbiting around, what it's rotating with. That is not orbiting with the gas giant. Tidally locked with the star either. That's because it's not tidally locked. Rotating 5 to 1 here, so it rotates once every 5 orbits, or is that 5 times per every orbit? So yeah, it's not a tidally locked planet at all. Looks like this gas giant has a lot of small asteroids around it though. Interesting. And this is a Terra with life, marine and terrestrial. Let's go ahead and fly in. I'm not seeing any oceans. Ah, there's some. Oh, some really cool detailed ones as well. Like an ocean, it's got like just kind of like a natural erosion with the terrain or something like that. If anything, it's probably very shallow. 650 meters in the center here. Very neat. Let's go ahead and land on this volcano here. There's the mossy life texture. It's an inactive volcano. You can see more of the life texture here. And you can see the gas giant there, which is like a beige and blue striped gas giant with its very large and vibrant rings. Very neat. A very cool looking Terra. It's definitely one of the more unique looking Terras in the game. Like this. It just has a very beautiful appearance. A lot of unusual colors, I would say. Apart from being one that has like purple life on it or something. And we're in a regular galaxy. What galaxy is that? That's the Milky Way right over there. So I think that's the galaxy we were just looking at. Barnard's galaxy. Very cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. It's from Angel Carrillo. It says, go to Sharon, Pluto's moon. Let's go ahead and paste that in. I do believe I went to Pluto in the last episode, and I've been to Sharon quite a few times. But, why not? You can barely see it because it's really a very dim object until you turn off your planet brightness. The detailed side that we've observed, and the back side that we have yet to get any detailed images of. And over there, of course, is Pluto with its nitrogen-rich atmosphere. Very cool. And if you guys want more details about this object and Pluto, I have a fact video on that. Should be under the SpaceEngine Quick Video playlist, or whatever it's called, which I renamed my Universe Sandbox 2 playlist to Let's Play Universe Sandbox 2 to kind of give people a little bit more of an impression that it's not supposed to be educational, it's just me playing around with suggestions, really. I'm hoping that does a little bit to kind of give people a better impression of what that kind of playlist is about. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from First Name, Last Name. Planet orbits a binary star system consisting of a red dwarf, AB, and a white dwarf, which is with a large accretion disk. Oh, I do like white dwarfs with accretion disks. Those are pretty rare. Let's go ahead and paste this ID in, and it's not loading. Let's get rid of the A6. Nope, still not loading. It's in the center of the Triangulum galaxy. in an interstellar cloud, so like a little black pocket in the Triangulum galaxy. Where is Triangulum? Find it once we see Andromeda. Over here, right? Oh. Andromeda was gonna be like over there. I feel like it should be. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's the small Magellanic Cloud. Is it even popping in? I don't see it at all. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was looking in the right direction, I just wasn't seeing it. Okay, so from here we should easily be able to spot Triangulum, which should be off in probably this direction. Probably easier to see if we go ahead and do that. What galaxy is that? M32. That's one of Andromeda's galaxies. Is that Triangulum? There it is. Okay, let's see. So it should be in the center of Triangulum in an interstellar cloud. So perhaps a... I don't know if you're talking about like one of these interstellar clouds, like these ones. These are pretty frequent. Or if you're talking like one of those nebulas that are just black. I don't really know. But what I'll do is I'll try to find a white dwarf. So let's go ahead and bring up the... that's not what I wanted to go to. There we go. Let's go to filter settings and let's look for a... white dwarf. And a star count of 2. And let's go to this one. Which this one does not have any form of fancy accretion disk. So we'll try again, but this time we'll put 50 light years. That's some better results. And there's one with an accretion disk. And it's not orbiting a red dwarf, I don't think. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so this is kind of similar to the suggestion you were posting. That you exactly posted, so that's unfortunate. What is this? What are you? Are you just something with a comet tail? Oh yeah, that's what that is. And this one's got a pretty large accretion disk. I can't really see the star. There it is. It's pretty big as well. Let's see where that red dwarf is. It is right over here. Very cool, and it's got a bunch of blue planets orbiting around it, which I can only assume are blue because of the light being cast off that white dwarf. This one's almost slightly purple because of the red dwarf as well. Very cool, but that white dwarf there with the accretion disk is definitely drowning out the light from that red star. Let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from Hera, Vasir, Rex, long name, and you want me to visit this planet and its moons. Okay. I don't know. There it is. I am assuming you want me to visit these moons that have life. This one's just marine life, so we can't see it. It's in Oceania. But as you see, it has two stars casting light on it, making 2 different colors on the planet itself, kind of like that previous suggestion we saw earlier. And then we have this one over here, which is a temperate terra with life, but again, it's marine life, so we won't be able to see it. But it has a very cool kind of grayish, what would you say that is? Like a teal color? It's not really a cyan. It's kind of got that greenish tint that a teal would have. And a very beautiful shadow on its atmosphere. Very cool. Another comment saying they like the suggestion, or like the idea of a second channel. Yeah, the main thing is I don't really want my videos to be buried amongst all the Universe Sandbox 2 videos and stuff, and then I kind of thought to myself, you know, I'd probably just make too much Universe Sandbox 2 videos, so I'm gonna kind of slow down on those unless I have like a kind of worthwhile suggestion or something. Yeah, mainly I've done so many Universe Sandbox 2 videos, I've mentioned this multiple times at this point, but yeah, I'm basically gonna start slowing down on those. I might actually start doing these Space Engine videos more frequently again. I think that'd be a cool little twist, maybe like moving to like one of these every 4 days or like twice a week or something. Or, well, as it typically goes, I'm not on schedule, so, you know, I'll just upload them whenever the hell I want. But yeah, I might start making these videos more frequently, because if I start making them more frequently, they should be shorter, theoretically, because I do get a lot of suggestions throughout the week. So if I do them like once every couple days, it shouldn't be so bad, if I'm correct, but I could be wrong. That's something to experiment with. I'm always messing with things. And yeah, I just like not being on a schedule because I can just kind of work at my own pace instead of overworking myself or slacking. The rings, but they're very faint in the sky there. And you want me to visit? Okay, so it's moons. That's another Oceania. That's a Selena. Selena and Selena. So I assume these are like the two worthwhile moons that you want me to visit. Go ahead and just take a quick peek at this Oceania here, which does have polar caps, which is pretty cool. So you can in fact land on an Oceania, knowing that there's pretty much all water right below you, with a very neat view of the sky. So the last suggestion is from Best Of. And no description, it just looks really cool, so let's go ahead and check it out. And then we'll close off the video. Or not, unfortunately. Because the suggestion is not working. Well, that's unfortunate. Best Of, if you want to find that idea again and repost it, maybe correct it, make sure it works, and also ensure that you are on version 0.9.8.0 beta, the latest version available on the Space Engine website. I am not using the E variant because I don't know if that's going to ruin the seed in which all the planets are generated on, so I don't use the E variant of the game. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, please subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.